Baseball is back under a star-studded evening at Stewart W. Fine Field, and everything is set for another enthralling chapter between the best the Sunset League has to offer. Newport Harbor continuing to roll along near the top with opportunistic hitting and a steady hand with arms in the pen. But the dugout staring just across from them will tell you otherwise. 1 year ago, made the most of sinking the sailor's ship. The Griffins of Los Alamitos attempting to withstand the tide and perch themselves as the threat in the Golden State. With league play continuing to take shape, every game starts to carry a little bit more weight with every inning, and today is no exception. Two rivals of the West and another standoff at the coast. Good evening and welcome to TAR TV Sports. I'm Justin Lee, joined alongside James Lee on this fantastic Friday evening. And despite the outcome of the last two games this week, this feels like a game where both sides have something to prove in their own respective ways, James.
Absolutely. Newport Harbor is coming in confident. They've been putting up runs and finding ways to win, while Los Al, despite everything surrounding their recent controversy, still has talent and capability. This is one of those games where focus and execution are going to matter more than anything else.
Newport Harbor, as of recently, their offense has really started to click over the last couple games. In their last two, they put up 8 runs on 13 hits, followed by 7 runs on 10 hits in the second game. Just consistent production throughout the lineup, and they're not relying on one guy. It's been a collective effort at the plate, and thus far on the other side, Los Alamitos has shown strength on the mound throughout this season. Their pitching staff has been able to keep them in games, limit damage, and control tempo. Even with everything going on that part of their game remains a real factor coming in today, especially with the first-year head coach at the forefront of it all. As for records, Newport Harbor enters with a 14-2, while Los Alamitos currently sits at 5-12 after forfeiting those last 6 games due to the recent controversy with CIF deeming ineligible players. A situation that adds an extra layer to how this team approaches today.
Looking deeper into this matchup, there's a clear recent trend between these two teams. Last season, Newport Harbor's only series loss came against Los Alamitos, dropping games 8-0 and 10-0 in those losses. So there's definitely some history here. But this year has looked very different. Newport Harbor has already taken the first 2 games of this series, winning 8-0 and 7-3, showing control on both sides of the ball. Individually, there are a couple names that stand out for the Sailors. Ryan Williams continues to be a major presence, contributing both at the plate and on the mound with a 0.51 ERA, and he's starting today. Henry Mann, who has been one of the most consistent hitters on this team, is leading the team and ranking among the top hitters with the .431 average. Those are the kinds of players that can take over a game.
That's right. Earlier we had a chance to catch up with Henry Mann to talk about his approach at the plate and what it takes to stay consistent during a stretch deep into league play for this season.
Succeed for these last 2 games and this upcoming game, hopefully.
Staying hydrated, definitely. Like getting my electrolytes and my nutrients in. Like that's all I got to do right there to stay prepared.
And what is the team mentality going into this game, hopefully going for the sweep?
The mentality is to win. And we go into every game trying to win, and that's the most important thing.
Henry Mann will surely continue to be one to look out for here in tonight. Well, with that being said, let's talk about the keys for Newport Harbor tonight. It seems to be the key tonight is to keep the offensive pressure extremely constant. When you're swinging the bats the way that the Tars have been, the goal is to not let up. Keep putting the ball in play, force the defense to work and build innings instead of waiting for one big hit. That kind of approach wears teams down over time, and in all regards, play Tar ball.
My key is controlling the game on the mound and defensively. If Newport Harbor can get ahead in counts, limit free base runners, and play clean behind their pitchers, they can dictate the pace of the game. When you combine strong pitching with strong defense, it takes a lot of pressure off the offense and allows them to play more freely.
Well, all to keep an eye on throughout tonight while we step aside for a quick break. But don't go too far. When we come back, we'll get you set for the first pitch in the series finale between Newport Harbor and Los Alamitos right here on TAR TV Sports. Just about to get set here at Stewart Fine Baseball Field in Newport Harbor. National Anthem and the first pitch coming underway in just a few between Newport Harbor and Los Alamitos. The series finale taking place here today right before Eastern Sunday, and it should be, in all regards, a fun one to watch because before coming into the controversy, I think a lot of people were thinking these were the two teams and, in all regards, the ones to try to go take down Huntington Beach, James.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. The Los Alamitos was actually second place before it happened, so Newport Harbor, if they already won the series, but looking at it just before the series, if Newport Harbor won two out of three, then they would take the lead, or take second place in Sunset League behind Huntington Beach, who is currently undefeated.
I mean, it must be extremely unexpected just the way that a lot of people thought that this season was going to go. I mean, obviously, start off extremely strong, but the way that that Newport Harbor has really been playing ball over the course of the entire season, I think a lot of people are kind of surprised that they're this good.
Yeah, it's just coming from a lot of talent, you know what I mean? It's talent trying to mold into a team, and I think Coach Lee has done a really good job of facilitating that and finding a way to mold that talent into a product on the field.
And I think for Los Al too, I think they're also kind of under the radar in terms of what people really imagine, because we're talking about the last 4 years, they've had a different head coach at the helm almost every other season, and it doesn't come any different with Cameron Chin there, but there's been a lot of expectation, and he's kind of really filled into those expectations so far this season. Yeah,
100%. He's done a great job at, I've noticed he's done a really good job at managing the series and managing, each player and making sure that he's playing his best players and playing them at the right time. So he's doing a good job.
Absolutely. Well, we'll take a short break while we have the National Anthem coming up right back here on TAR TV Sports in just a few. Well, here we go. Top of the first inning coming up here on TAR TV Sports as the Tars take the field here on a beautiful Friday. It's been hot the last couple of weeks, but this feels like the perfect temperature and the right time to have a great baseball game, and we're going to get a great one indeed. Like we talked about, Ryan Williams, the other captain, one of three on this team. He's going to be taking the mound here for the Sailors. We saw Gavin Guy. We saw, a handful of really good pitching from the Sailors team, and in particular, how about the job that this offense has really taken throughout the last couple of games? I think a lot of people thought that Los Alamitos would continue to do what they did last year, a year ago, winning the series in the last two games, but the Sailors seem like they're getting that proper revenge against this Griffins team.
Yeah, and it's all about, like you said, it's all about the offense. So it's all about attacking, these pitchers. Los Alamitos' pitchers have done a great job. In previous series, Ryan Deck had, coming into this series, had like a 1 ERA had pitched multiple complete games. Same with Easton Kaufman. Sort of the same thing with Logan Anderson. And, he's, they're doing a really good job at, attacking those really good pitchers.
And it seems like that's kind of been the script here. But Newport Harbor this year, in terms of just that pitching staff in general, you see last season they had a 2.3 ERA. This season it's a whopping 1.44 ERA. The opposing batting average is right there at 200. Not allowing a lot of these teams to really get on their first heel. But this is where Los Alamitos excels at this part. They at least get one run in every single game that they've played this season. So we'll see how hot they start against Ryan Williams here. Stepping up to the plate, Cruz de Erico will lead things off here for the Griffins. First pitch is in there, strike one to de Erico. Right behind him, Jackson Gomes, Rowan Shelley, Gerardo Garfias at the 4th spot, Will Adams at the 5th spot, Cannon Schilling at the 6th spot, Garon Beenham at the 7th spot, Parker Sanchez at the 8th, and then finishing off Los Alamitos, Caden Turner at the 9th spot. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, this is trademark Ryan right here attacking the zone.
Goes with the breaking pitch, but lays it off in the dirt. Brings it up to a 1-2 count.
He's able to get ahead with his two-seam that's running in towards hitters and catching hitters by surprise on the outside corner.
There's a 1-2 delivery, fast, quick, and he has to fight that pitch off. Derico stays alive with a 1-2 count to remain.
That was a pretty uncomfortable swing. He tunneled the fastball there with the slider down. Probably didn't see the spin there correctly and had to foul that off.
Payoff pitch, grounder to the second baseman. Throw to first. There's the first out. Right to Rutschberger at first base. One down here in the top of the first.
Oren Damish playing second base, starting to mix in there, as well as Cole Harrison. I think Cole Harrison started the year at second base, but Damish's defensive capability is pretty high. So that's why they're playing him here today, I believe.
Here's Jackson Gomes coming up to the plate. Lays one low as the first pitch, just below the knees. 1-0 to start off here against Jackson Gomes. Hitting .235 on the season. Not the highest batting average, but he is getting some good production as one of the taller guys on this lineup. That's a quick 2-0 count to start off here on Ryan Williams. High leg kick, delivers just a little too inside. I'm trying to work the count here to begin things off. .51 ERA for Ryan Williams. His last appearance was against Edison, probably his deepest start of his season. 22 batters faced, 6 innings pitched, only 4 hits allowed, and just 1 earned run against Edison. 3-1 coming through. One hopper rolled over right to the third baseman. Henry Mann threw it to first for the second out.
2 ground balls, 2 outs. That's what you like to see from Williams, and especially that sinker two-seam going down. That's another product of throwing that pitch, is you're going to get a lot of ground balls when placed right.
Well, Los Alamitos got shut out in the first game. Almost got shut out in the game on the 1st of April. But they were able to knock at least a few through in the 6th and 7th innings of the second game, but ultimately losing 7-3 behind some really good hitting from this Newport Harbor team. They're going to come up in the second half of this first inning, and it's a 0-1 count to Rowan Shelley, who's playing at third base today. That one's on the inside corner, 0-2.
Looked like an uncomfortable take there. Front hip, two-seam, kind of flinched at that.
Williams committed to Cal Berkeley after his senior year. Tries the breaking pitch this time, but lets it go a little too hard.
I think this is a little unconventional compared to our 1 and 2 starters. Gavin Guy, and Kean Anderson are all people who throw overhand, but Williams here is throwing sidearm.
Much different motion as this one is laid on the floor. Right, getting to it, over to first base. Off the bag, they say, was Roachberger. It was a nifty throw by the second baseman, Damish. And there's the first base runner on board. It seems like a throwing error on the second baseman would be the initial look here.
Lee asking for an umpire review here. I believe Williams was also asking for that. Roachberger stretching off the bag really, really long there. This will be an interesting call for sure, but he is heading back.
It seems like the initial call was Roachberger, at least in the eyes of Josh Lee, just keeping that foot on the bag, but a bit tad off, it seems like. Los Alamitos has a runner on first with 2 outs here on the top of the first. Rowan Shelley there at the first base bag. This is Gerardo Garfias in the cleanup spot.
You can see on that replay, he stretched all the way out there. And that must have been a hard call for the umpire to make.
This one right back to the same spot, and this time they'll go to second base. Damish throws it over to his shortstop, Grant Horsley. Bit of a threat at the first base bag, but nothing coming through for Ryan Williams. Los Alamitos coming up on the bases, well, to defend on the field. Newport coming up here on TAR TV Sports. Bottom of the first here at Stuart Fine Field, 0-0 to start things off. Los Alamitos had a threat at first base with the throwing error by the second baseman for Newport, but nothing got through. And leading off here, Keone One, who has had a fantastic series so far. Ryan Williams right behind him, Gavin Guy, Henry Mann at the cleanup spot, Grant Horsley, Brooks Francis, Austin Giles, Leor Roachberger, Orrin Demush, and then Noah Whitaker to finish things off for the Sailors here. Swinging the bats here in the bottom of the first. Here's the first delivery. That one is just a little bit inside for a ball. Ron Beanham on the mound for Los Alamitos as he steps up on the bump here for the Griffins in the bottom of the first. Pop up shallow right field near the Bermuda Triangle, but a good coverage by Schilling out in right to cover all that ground to get the first out.
That's a little bit different of an approach than we've seen from Woon this series. It's really been all about small ball, not a lot of triples or homers. It's just getting on base, and that was not the swing to try and get on base there.
Coming into this game, he was 4 for 7 with 2 runs in the series thus far, now 4 of 8 at bat. And here's the starting pitcher for the Sailors, Ryan Williams, as he lets one fly for strike 1. This one's a grounder to the shortstop. One hop grab, throw to first. In time. A great play there by Caden Turner to find his first baseman Garfias on a one hop.
Good read by the shortstop there with the turf monster. the ball bounces really high on those choppers, and he was able to find a spot where he could catch it right in his chest and make a good throw.
Here's Gavin Guy stepping into the plate now. 2 outs in the bottom of the first. First pitch a little inside as he's dancing just out of that pitch. Guy 1 for 4 in the first game with a run and an RBI scored yesterday. Just 1 hit, 1 RBI, and that was on a double for number 8.
Look for Gavin to try and hit a line drive here or a ground ball.
Next delivery, this one's drilled on a 1-hopper, scooped up by Shelley. Long throw to first, he got him. A 1-2-3 inning to start off defensively for Los Alamitos, and we're still 0-0 on both sides as we go to the top of the second here on TAR TV Sports. Back here on TAR TV Sports, top of the second we go. It'll be 5, 6, 7 coming up for the Los Alamitos Griffins. The catcher lays off on the first pitch, deep to right. It's going to go way foul, it seems like. Almost had a chance there was Keone Wan, who covered a lot of ground from that right field spot, but not avail.
He might have been playing pole there. That didn't allow him to catch up to that ball.
Will Adams, the other captain for Los Alamitos, 5'10", 175 pounds, hitting .333 on the season thus far. This one cuts on the outside, but misses for a 1-1 count. Number 6 delivers. This one's fouled off again. This one to the tie bar of the fence here.
1-2 count. What do you think he's going to go with here? Is he going to go with a sweeper outside for a chase, or a two-seam up in the zone? You don't know.
We're about to see what the result is. 1-2 on the way. This one's in the dirt, so not really much there happening. 2-2 count. But what could be a setup pitch, change the eyes, never know. And somebody who's got a lot of experience in that, James Lee, I know you know exactly what we're looking for here.
Yes, sir.
Watched and looked all the way. Strike 3. Down goes Will Adams.
What a pitch. That pitch caught the upper corner, the upper inside corner on that sweeper. Perfectly located. Made him freeze for backwards K.
And it seems like that last pitch prior to that 2-2 count was basically a setup pitch. Low in the dirt, bring it up back upstairs, and bring it down. Same pitch, but this one results in a ball inside for Cannon Schilling. 1-0 count to start off with 1 out here in the top of the second. Schilling 6'3", 185 pounds. Fouls one off very close to my face if there was no net here.
Rare changeup right there, but I think because we're facing a lefty, Lee is calling that to try and get him off balance instead of the sweeper.
Tries the backdoor cutter, but this one stays outside. 2-1 count. And one of the big things nowadays, especially in just baseball in general. You know, you talk about the pitch comms and new technology coming into the game. The other thing, you know, kind of like an Apple Watch where they can send the signal to all the players in the infield, let them know like what pitch is coming, and you know very well that Jocelyn's making those calls right here, James.
Absolutely. He's managing every pitch in this game. You know, sitting with him next to the dugout, he's always locked in on, you know, knowing what the next pitch should be.
2-2 on the way. Check swing, drilled out to center field, and it's going to fall in. A blooper single for Cannon Schilling. Gets the hitting going for Los Alamitos.
Got the barrel out there, but sort of got lucky. That was a low and out two-seam. That was below the zone, and props to him for, you know, making contact there and, you know, putting it in the right place.
Perfect place to lay that one, and I'm not sure if he really expected that with the way that he swung that bat, but nonetheless, it ends up in a one-out single here in the top of the second. Second threat here for Los Alamitos, and Garan Beenum, the pitcher, is in there. Watch a strike one on the inside.
Again, that inside sweeper, getting them to freeze. We'll see what he goes with here.
Coach Josh Lee in his 5th season here at the helm for the Newport Harbor Sailors, part of the 2022 championship team. This one's grounded. Slow roller, gonna have to make a hard throw to first. Got him. Great throw from man over to Roachford once again. Second out as Cannon Schilling moves to second.
Yet another ground ball from Williams, and this one was a bit too slow to try and turn a double play. It was a chopper that kind of stayed in the air, kind of like a pop fly. So good decision there from man just to throw down to first.
Runner in scoring position with 2 outs and a chance for Los Alamitos to cash in and start scoring off here in the top of the second inning. So far this season, the Sailors are 3-1 in one-run games, 3-0 in extras, and 1-1 when they're playing from behind. So certainly would not like to see them, if you're a Newport Sailor fan, see them being behind in the initial go-around. The last time in a 3-game series where Newport was behind was against Corona Del Mar in the final game of that series not that long ago. A 1 count. That one is watched. 0-2.
Paint right there from Ryan. That's a crucial pitch to get way ahead with 2 outs. That puts a lot of pressure on this offense and a lot of pressure on the hitter.
It does indeed, especially with runners in scoring position. You'd like to imagine that the Griffins need something here. They're only scoring an average of 0.2 runs in all the games in the second inning. So not a lot of success for them in that second frame. Here's the next delivery. Watched, but just off the plate.
An excellent take right there. That looked like a strike for so long and then just came off the plate.
Well, we'll see what Williams goes with right here on another payoff pitch coming up. 1-2, 2 outs, runner at second. Cannon Schilling. Williams checks back. Now he delivers. Strike 3 called. Another one left stranded on the bases for the Griffins as Newport Harbor keeps it 0-0. Going to the bottom of the second here on TAR TV Sports. second coming up here on TAR TV Sports. Bottom second leading off is the 4, 5, 6 of the Newport lineup. Henry Mann, Grant Horsey, and then Brooks Francis in the hole here for the Sailors. And grounded to the right side, makes it 1-1 count here.
Leading this team in average, like we said in the intro, a 4.31, tied with Woon in most amount of hits.
He's been just that good, and a lot of people expected that, especially from somebody from a Division I school, Mater Dei. One of 3 transfers, Brooke Francis, the other one, Matt Andrews, another one as well in his sophomore year. But the production that Henry Mann has been able to produce for the Sailors team has been just otherworldly. And for someone like Josh Lee, it feels like this is the right guy to help this team lead them deep into a playoff run.
And we haven't even talked about his pitching either, able to throw up to 91.
Shows bunt, pulls up, pitch outside, 3-1.
Common move from Mann there, trying to get the drag, has some fun with that. Maybe trying to get into the pitcher's head a little bit.
There was a check swing on the last 2 pitches earlier for Henry Mann, but he's going to lead off with a walk here.
That's big to get a runner with no outs. When you've looked at the previous games for the Sailors, whenever they get a runner on base, it's contagious, and they're able to get more runners and get a bunch of RBIs.
Yeah, over the course of the last couple of days, we're talking about 23 hits in total for this Sailors team. And a big chunk of that came pretty much in the first inning for the Sailors squad. And most notably, the game on the 1st of April is really where they started smashing it through. In the first game against Los Alamitos, they knocked in 6 runs in the 5th inning. So when it comes in a hurry, it comes in a hurry.
Absolutely, and like I've said, it's always started with one bat. And yesterday, in the 5th inning, it was Roachberger with that pinch hit single that led to 3 runs instantly within about 10 minutes.
Horsley's going to wave and put the bat up. There goes a runner, hit and go, right off the pitcher. He'll throw to first, and that's a sacrifice bunt for, well, essentially for Grant Horsley. That moves over runner into scoring position. So a little bit of small ball to start things off.
That's been the key to success, really, to get a runner on base and try and get him over to put pressure on the defense to make plays. And you saw the slash there, not something you see very often, but almost well executed right at the pitcher. You usually want that not at the pitcher, but that gets the job done nonetheless.
It does indeed, and here comes Brooks Francis. And how about this guy for the Sailors? There was a lot of questions about who would be that replacement for one of their best, and we're talking about Lucas Perez, but Brooks Francis has really stepped up at the catcher position in place of that. And you watch a strike one here, but how about he's been just that patient at the plate. 13 walks, the most on the team, right in front of Ryan Williams, who has 12. 14 RBIs on the team, that's the most on this squad as well. 0-1 delivery, fouls it off.
This has been a really big year for him, and I think the key is not being afraid to take hacks at first pitches and first pitch strikes. It's been a really big key for him to be aggressive and to find the outfield with his hits.
Well, we'll see what he can do here with an 0-2 count. He has an on-base percentage of .582 so far this season. And unfamiliar, I mean, he's just doing that much better than what he did a year ago. .304 batting average this season, a .410 so far. This one's rolled over high above the head of Beanham. Can Horsley beat it out? The little hopper, is he safe? Yes, the throw to home plate, but they get the runner. He's safe around the tag. Mann scores the first run for Newport.
Wow, the throw beat him by at least 3 or 4 steps, but the runner there, I believe that was Mann, was able to get around the tag according to the umpire and also save at first. Not safe at first, actually, but that's a really big run and really unfortunate for the Griffins.
Hey, Cameron Shin immediately came out of that dugout right up in front of the face of the home plate umpire, and somehow Henry Mann was from second base, ran all the way to home plate, and basically danced around the catcher Adams behind that dish and scores the first runs for the Sailors. What a sequence that just occurred.
And that's big for the Sailors to get that first run. You saw Henry Mann fired up there after he scored that run. We'll see if that's contagious here with Austin Gillis coming up to the place.
Austin Gillis coming up to bat here. Infielder, also a pitcher, 344 batting average, bases clear with 2 outs. But Newport Harbor have scored their first runs thanks to a speedy Henry Mann moving the glove around, or moving his hand essentially around the plate, with Adams covering that dish there, and really nothing. Just a bang play from the umpire. Like you said, the throw did beat him, but it seems like Mann got his hand around. 1-1 on the way. Watched, inside corner, called for a strike.
That's a tough spot. That looked like a little two-seam there that just caught the inside corner. But you never know. Gillis was on JV last year, but showed a lot of pop in the preseason.
This one's laid off in the ground. 2-2 for Austin Gillis. Now, coming into this series, Newport was number 7 as ranked by the OC Top 25, but right behind them was Los Alamitos at that number 8 spot in that listing. Fastball fouled off. And despite what has happened with the controversy that surrounded this team, this Los Alamitos team still feels like they have a chance to control their destiny and finish off strong. But it feels like a win here today is at the utmost importance to keep their season alive. Breaking pitch, that one's going to go foul too.
And I believe if they do not win this game, they cannot make the playoffs anymore at all as an at-large. They would have to win their next 9 games, and they still have a lot of baseball to play against tough teams in this league.
And the sunset does not get any easier when you look at the schedule. This one's rolled on the floor, off the glove of the third baseman, Shelley. Gillis will be safe at first base.
Looked like it just came off the top of his glove there. That could have been a misread. That could have been a misread on that hop right there. The turf monster, like I've said before, it creates a lot of big hops, and at Los Alamitos' dirt field, probably not so much. Probably even more hops, you never know.
A much different type of setting here, especially at Stewart Fine Field. Here's Roachberger, the first baseman, watches strike one off the outside corner. Runner at first base, Gillis reaching on what's been scored as an E5 in the scorebook. Just a one hopper off that turf, and like you said, much different ways of playing the game when it comes to turf and dirt in itself. This one just under the knees of Roachberger. This turf field recently just finished here at this field, not that far from a few years ago, and I'm sure you've seen the transition too of what that has also played into, but that's the unfamiliarity of having home field advantage. A 1-1 count here. Check to first base real quick with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning. It's already started fairly entertaining. A walk by Henry Mann, a 6-3 ground ball on the floor, and then Henry Mann able to score on what was a bang call by the umpire. Swing and a miss. And it's a 1-2 count now for Roachberger.
Going back to the turf, I've seen this field, just evolve, and before it's just such better drainage and such better playing conditions, especially in right field, right next to ENC.
Breaking pitch got him swinging. Down goes Roachberger, but not before Henry Mann can get around the bases with a leadoff walk and score the first run of the game for the Sailors. Off to the third we go here on Tar TV Sports. Bottom of the order here for Los Alamitos to start off in the top of the third, behind by a run thanks to Henry Mann's score. First pitch in there for a strike to Caden Turner, who's at shortstop today for Los Alamitos. Here's the next pitch. Same spot, this time way more inside, but 0-2 count. It's watched by Turner. Both sides at the bottom half, or at the bottom of their lineups in the third inning, but the difference just a single run forced by a ground ball. Here's a grounder over to first base. Got him right before a step could be applied onto that bag by Caden Turner. That's the first down.
A solid 2 plays from Mann there. That one, regular ground ball, but a hard throw down to first for that out. And that shows you his arm strength there.
Here's the first pitch back to the top of the order. Derrica showing bunt as he fouls off that pitch. High with an 0-1 count. And I think the one thing that doesn't get a lot of attention in the stat sheet, because it really isn't applied on Max Preps, but the fielding percentage of this Newport team, maybe one of the best defenses we will see in California. And that's really what's kept them in games. Line driver, sliding grab by Whitaker in left field.
And you were talking about that defense. What a read from Whitaker there, sliding, getting just low enough to get that hard line drive. Bailed out Williams a little bit right there.
It's really been Mann getting a lot of those plays on those grounders, and this time it's Whitaker with a sliding grab. And not that long ago, we saw a lot of those really nice plays defensively from the Sailors team. Another grounder. Here comes the defense again. Got him. 1-2-3 inning for Newport Harbor thanks to a strong defense. Still remains 1-0 for the Sailors as we go to the bottom half of the third. Oren Davis will lead us off here on the bottom half of the third inning here. 1-0 for Newport Harbor. Justin Lee, James Lee to my left. And I know a lot of people are thinking, you know, there's a lot of allegations out there about maybe the relation between you and I. And the fact of the matter is that we are related, James. We are brothers through and through.
Yeah, 100%. This is not an April Fool's joke.
No,
Gosh, we are never beating those allegations.
No, we are not. We are not. We are not related whatsoever, and nor we are related to Josh Lee. It's all just a crazy coincidence that has happened over the course of me knowing James Lee in that regards, where it's happened a lot. But I do have two brothers. James, you have a brother. It's kind of hard when Lee is a pretty common name.
Yep, that's a coincidence, but glad to be working with you.
Glad to be working with my brother. Happy late April Fools, everybody watching here. 3-1 count for Oren Demouche.
Gotta attack here. Sorry, Justin. You gotta attack here on this 3-1, and he does so.
And it seems like Beanham is going to have to start getting a little bit more aggressive, especially with the 9-hole hitter right here at least get this one out here, because the next guy coming up, I'm sure, is going to really relish on trying to fix that mistake he did in the first AB. But this one gets past the shortstop in Turner. Turning around first base, Demouche is a leadoff single to start things off.
Their first hit of the game, and a great hit. That ball was smashed just out of the reach of the shortstop. A line drive, and that's exactly the approach that Josh Lee wants to see with this offense.
You see he's extremely such a strategic guy. You see the wristband. If you look very closely, you'll see some of these players wearing a wristband. You'll see Coach Josh Lee holding a piece of paper in his hand to kind of really figure out what the strategy would be. Backhand pick, that one gets away, but it won't go too far, as Demouche was actually pretty far off of that first base bag, but just barely gets back in. And if that throw was on line, surely would have been out. But Keone 1 showing bunt here in his second AB of the game.
You talk about being, having all of these resources that these players have, and that's one thing Josh Lee has talked about, is being unconventional, being, that type of coach that's going to go far as possible to try and win. And, the wristbands are a part of it so that people can't pick off your signs as well.
For somebody that has been around this game for a pretty hot minute, 1-1 count, Josh Lee played at OCC, and when we talk about playing among some of the best in California, we're talking about legendary baseball coach John Altobelli, a former Newport Harbor graduate as well in 1981. Unfortunately, lost his life in the crash with Kobe Bryant. This one on the ground, throw to first, high off the bag is Garfias from the throw from Beanham, and another runner is safe. Keone 1 now man at first and second.
Woon showing off that athleticism, that speed. He is definitely the fastest person on this team, and only as a sophomore, which is really impressive and a really good look for the future.
And the future he will be indeed. 2 years more he's got, and he's been such a bright spot on this squad so far. And you see the speed, you see the athleticism, you see what he's been able to do. As a freshman, hitting .212, now this year .379 coming into this game. I mean, the kid has been something else, but that doesn't seem unfamiliar to a lot of these guys, because Newport Harbor has had a lot of those young guys in these crazy positions. And Ryan Williams, who's been a 3-year starter on this varsity side, started young as well, and he's going to help lead this team here up to bat, to a promised land with a lot of guys who are thinking the exact same thing, is replicate what the 2022 team did.
And that's the goal for the Sailors always, is to try and recreate that magic. And that's certainly on the mind of Coach Josh Lee every time we play here at this field.
They're trying to do right by the 2022 squad. There's a 1-0 count for Ryan Williams. A real quick check fast with Demouche at second base right now. So going back to Josh Lee, pitched at OCC from 2009 and 2010, helped lead the team to their first state and national junior college championship in 2009, the first in OCC history since 1986. And as a coach, a lot of really good experiences. Williams shows bunt, but I guess didn't pull up. Now he's got a 1-1 count.
Trying to play small ball here to try and get these two runners into a scoring position for Gavin Guy, who was a monster hitter last year for these Sailors.
Just like his teammate Ryan Williams, who's showing bunt once again. Another commit as well. Williams goes after this one, pops it up in the air, shallow center field. DeErico will fall under it, and that's the first down.
And I don't think that was Williams' goal right there. On the slash, you've got to try and hit a ground ball, so when those runners do run, they don't want to be caught not tagging up.
And a good job getting back to those bases. So here is Gavin Guy. As of the CDM series, 14th most home runs in the CIF Southern section. Last year had 3 home runs in his junior year. Committed to UCSB. This one right up the middle. Gavin Guy, this is going to score at least one. but the throw coming in from center field off the glove of Adams as he couldn't secure it. Goes to the backstop. Everyone else moves 90 feet, and the Sailors are up 2-0 now.
Just unfortunate for the catcher there, number 24, Will Adams. That ball was perfectly placed by the outfielder, the center fielder, and that ball just came out of his glove, and that certainly would have been an out for these Griffins, but that is a run for the Sailors, and they're up 2-0 now.
A really nice throw from Derica from center field. It just pumped out of the glove of Adams, protecting the dish, and the throw was basically perfect. It beat out Demouche, but he's able to score on a crazy mistake. That almost could have been another mistake with the pitch in the dirt, but a good stop from Adams this time. A 1-0 count to start things off against Henry Mann here in his second AB. He was the first runner to score in the previous half inning after leading off with a walk, and then came around the bases to score on what was a crazy bang play. Got his hand around the catcher of Adams, covering the plate on a crazy 6-3 ground out, and somehow came all the way around to score as Cameron Chin comes out to the mound to meet with the infield here. It seems like there's been a few little unfortunate things that have happened here on defense for this Los Al team, but I mean, 2 runs is nothing in a lot of eyes of these really competitive teams, because that just means you're still not out, you're just down by a little bit.
Yeah, and I think Coach Chin is telling his players to lock it down here and make sure you can minimize this damage, and telling his pitcher Beanham to keep attacking the zone. They haven't hit the ball really hard yet. They've had a couple line drives there, but this is a big moment for him in this situation.
It is indeed. Runners in scoring position, second and third with 1 out. Mann tries to go after the high fastball, but comes up empty. He's got a 1-1 count here. And you saw the replay, and that's what we're talking about. A couple of miscues on defense. The throw was great. It just kind of pumped out of the glove of Adams, and the difference a few inches. But nonetheless, this one the other way, gloved up by the first base. He's going to go to home. The perfect throw off the grounder. Great scoop from Adams to get the second out. 1 goes back to the dugout.
Wow, that was really close. Really perfectly fielded that ball, but that throw was too far down, but a great pick by Adams there to get that out by maybe half a step right there.
The guy moves over to third base. 1 gets struck down on a great defensive play as Adams gets 1 back essentially on defense. A good read there, but the fielder's choice allows Henry Mann to get on base at first. So runners out the corners with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third inning, and here's Grant Horsley, grounded right back to Beanham earlier. Fouls off this one to the back net.
He's really working that changeup right there to both-handed hitters. Especially Henry Mann threw that changeup outside, got him to roll over, and that one might have fooled Horsley there, just on the inside of the plate.
Let's see how Horsley adjusts. This one is Watts on the outside corner, so kind of coast to coast on the last couple pitches. 0-2 count for Horsley. And now Beanham can try to get out of the inning, limiting the damage to just 1. So far it's been the last 2 frames, at least a run scored by Newport Harbor, but on a couple of unfortunate events on the other side for Los Alamitos. Pokes this one to right field. Backing up is Schilling. Backtracks it and finds the ball to get the third out. Newport Harbor puts on another run on the board thanks to Gavin Guy. It's 2-0 off to the 4th inning we go here on Tar TV Sports. Rowan Shelley, Gerardo Garfias, and Will Adams. 3-4-5 for Los Alamitos coming up here in the top of the fourth. They're behind by 2 right now, but it's still manageable after some kind of nifty defense from Los Alamitos. First pitch is a bunt. Rolled on the floor, trying to scoop it up and throw it to first base. Nothing there. The speed of Shelley beats out the throw, on board with a leadoff bunt single.
Really well executed drag bunt right there. Damish playing pretty far out and Williams going the wrong way. That was a great bunt right there for a single.
Those are the kinds of bunts you see where you just got to give a golden star for making that kind of bunt. First pitch fouled off to Garfias. Really a perfect spot, and you see the speed essentially running away from that ground ball. It would have been a really tough play for Demouche to make that scoop over to Rochverker at first base, but nonetheless, Los Alamitos looking to try to respond here, and they need at least a good swing from one of these 3-4-5 hitters. Another foul ball. This one's in the dirt.
Was really on top of that pitch. Almost coerced a ground ball there. Could have turned into a double play. We'll see if Williams goes to that again to try and get that ground ball.
So definitely on alert because the corners are in for Newport Harbor. This one on the outside. 1-2 count.
Good competitive pitch right there with that tailing two-seam. Looks like a strike on the outside corner like the one before, but just tailed out for a ball.
Another check at first base, diving back in is Rowan Shelley. This Newport team in 2022, like we talked about many times, CIF state regional champions, beat Oaks Christian 5-1 in that game, in that championship game. That was Division II though. What they're really trying to do is get back to Division I and try to, get in front of some of the best as this pitch gets away from Francis, but already stealing was Rowan Shelley. He's at second base standing.
Pretty good decision right there. Read his timing, and he also threw a breaking ball down in the dirt, which makes it a lot harder to try and catch that runner going to second base.
And Francis will go check out with Ryan Williams in the meantime here. So, but kind of going back in time a little bit. Last year, this Newport team 22-7 overall, 14-4 in league. Lost to Santa Margarita in the CIF opening round, 0-2. But it felt like that was a game they could have won because Gavin Guy was doing pretty good. Only one earned run. That offense just couldn't get in front of a Division I team. And we're talking about maybe one of the best Division I teams in the state, maybe even the country at the Trinity League level. And speaking of which, this next game for Newport Harbor after this one, it's not going to be easy because it's against Mater Dei on the 7th of April. One hopper rolled over, gonna have to make a great scoop, and he does. Demouche over to Rochberger, gets the first out. Another great play from this Newport Harbor defense as Rowan Shelley moves to third now.
A little bit of redemption there for Damish, especially on that drag bunt where he was possibly not playing correctly. But now we've got a runner on third, and this is a first pressure situation really for Williams.
That one, check swing, does not go, says the base umpire. 1-0 count for Adams. And for number 24 here, the captain for this team, you talked about that ball that popped out of his gloves. He can get one back here if he can score Rowan Shelley from third base with one swing. This one the other way, and he is going to do it indeed. Los Alamitos gets the first run of the game thanks to Will Adams. Now they're behind by 1 run.
And that's exactly what you want to do on an elevated outside two-seam. Just take it the other way, trying not to pull that ball and try to hit it for a home run, because that's what leads to ground balls, just hitting that line drive. in that 3-4 hole.
It's a really good spot, especially for a very patient hitter in Will Adams, and just really being able to read the right pitch, get that one in there. As this one inside here for Cannon Schilling. At the first hit of the game back in the second inning with that little blooper that he hit to center field right in front of Gavin Guy out there in center field. This one's in the dirt. Good stop by Francis. 2-0.
Crucial right there. You don't want to get that runner to second because it creates another pressure, stressful situation for Williams.
So Adams now with his 10th RBI. He's at first base after getting Los Alamitos on the board. This one's called off the outside corner. Strike one of the count, 2-1.
You did mention Mater Dei previously. That's going to be in the Boris Classic tournament. This is the first year that Newport Harbor has been invited to that prestigious tournament that includes Huntington Beach and Fountain Valley, some Sunset League opponents right there, as well as Mater Dei, Bosco, all of these other fantastic teams, fantastic competition here at that tournament.
And that feels like kind of the right indicator for this Newport team. If they can get around Mater Dei, it feels like they could be on top of the world, but want to take that one step at a time as this one's flared to left, but it's going to go and trail foul just out of the way of Whitaker. Makes it a 2-2 count on Schilling. And speaking of which, I mean, the way that Newport Harbor has been playing, they feel like they're the best, but they aren't because Huntington Beach still has yet to lose a game. They're playing Corona Del Mar today at the same time. We'll get an update on that a little bit later, but this is setting up to be an insane Sunset League finish because they play Huntington Beach the last regular season series between those two squads on the 28th, 29th, and the 1st of May.
And you saw what happened last year. Newport took 2 out of 3 in that series, and it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Targ TV is live streaming the 3rd game of that series, and that will be one to watch for sure.
It will certainly be, as the stage is getting set for that series, but Newport Harbor has got to get away with at least sweeping Los Alamitos and keep this team out of being a threat in the Sunset League. This one's poked again, but just a little high up as Guy just moves a few steps over and makes the catch. Second out.
Guy playing center field, has been playing center field as of recently in order to replace Ryan Williams in the outfield with a little bit of a knee injury, but still a really good option there in the outfield. Guys made some diving plays out there that have looked very athletic.
And that's just the story to tell. I mean, you have all this speed out in the outfield for this Newport team. Whitaker, plenty of speed. Guy, who's made some diving plays, most notably that diving catch against Corona Del Mar in the Battle of the Bay, as the first pitch is fouled off by the pitcher Beanham. 0-1 count, a runner at first in Will Adams. And Keone won, like we talked about, a young, talented sophomore, plenty of speed. We saw that that single in the infield in the previous frame that got things a little bit going here for Newport Harbor. But this defense, there's just not that many holes that you can really look at. Breaking pitch slider, strike 2 of the count.
And I mean, look at this infield. You've got man who's already made 2 good plays today. Horsley has been playing shortstop since his freshman year as a junior, now has so much experience there. Cole Harrison and Roachberger to round that out.
Check swing, didn't really go too far, but it's in the dirt. 1-2 count for Garen Beanham.
Not to mention, Brooks Francis behind that plate has been very good this game so far at blocking those low sliders, those chase sliders, and those chase changeups down.
He's been very good at framing these pitches up. High fastball, no take from Beanham. Makes it a 2-2 count. And you mentioned just how good Gavin Guy's been. Same thing with the pitching side of things. The first game, 6 innings pitched, just 1 hit allowed it, and 9 strikeouts for Gavin Guy, who now moves 6-0 as a starting pitcher for this Newport squad. And I mean, just how good has this team been? Just fantastic as they check over at first base with Adams getting back in. You know, last year, a 2.30 ERA, a 1.44 ERA. I mean, combined, it's a batting average against these opponents of 200. You don't really see that very often, especially in the big leagues.
And that's just a product of attacking hitters, and attacking hitters well, not just throwing the pitch down the middle, but hitting spots. And that's certainly something that you're seeing from Williams.
Throw down to second base. The throw beats him, and they got him just before Adams could get there. He does drive in a 1 for Los Alamitos. They're on the board 2-1. Newport Harbor still have advantage going to the bottom of the 4th. Back here at Stewart Fine Field here in Newport Beach, California. Coming up, Brooks Francis, Austin Gillis, Leo Roachberger in a 2-1 ball game between Los Alamitos and Newport Harbor. Justin Lee alongside James Lee as we're off to the bottom of the 4th. Los Alamitos finally got on the board thanks to Will Adams knocking in the first run of the game. And, you know, he talked about redemption. There seems like there's been a lot of that in this game so far. You saw the play that, unfortunately, the ball popped out of his glove from one of the runs that came across from Newport Harbor. And then he knocks in an opposite field RBI single to at least get this team back on track for the Griffins. So the question now remains, what does Newport do in order to get out of this one-on-one type of stretch with Los Alamitos here, as this first pitch is flared out to left field. Digging in is Gomes, and it will be stolen away by Shelley from third base.
That is really, really impressive. It looked like he had no shot at that, and he just floated under that ball and caught it over his shoulder. Really, really impressive play there by the third baseman. Looking like some of the football players of Los Alamitos who won Division II Southern Section against San Clemente not that long ago. So a really good defensive play here for Los Alamitos. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Gillis showing bunt. Tips it into the glove for strike 1. I believe we have Grant Horsley in the bullpen out there. He's been a crucial just pitcher for the Sailors in those relief appearances and even some starting appearances, even though he hasn't gotten much help in those starting appearances.
There's a 1-1 count pitch, and that one's fouled off by Gillis. One of the big things that really kicked off this indication of some of the really high-speed pitching of this Newport team, it was, you know, for Josh Lee, who talked about hosting a couple of Arizona teams, including University of San Diego, to really tout, you know, the idea was match up the best talent with the best team. And that's exactly what has occurred for Newport Harbor. I mean, we're talking about 3 guys on this Newport Harbor team that are touching 90s.
Yeah, and that's just the talent of this team coming into play.
This one's rolled on the ground. Offhand throw. That's not going to get in time as Gillis gets on board with an infield single.
Batting for number 23, Leo Roachberger, is number 17, Dylan Tucci.
We're still seeing Dylan Tucci come up to the plate, has been getting pinch hit opportunities coming back from injury.
And Tucci, a freshman this year, he was also considered one of the potential replacements at that catcher spot for Lucas Perez, who's now at Chapman University. And for Dylan Tucci, very talented lefty bat catcher, hits for power, working his way back from a football injury with the freshman team.
And we saw the power in the preseason. He was at SDSU, hit almost a 400-foot bomb to right field actually, and seeing that for the first time really caught my eye and really opened eyes to all of the players here on the team.
I mean, it just goes to show the type of talent that, I mean, even at the top with the older players, but at the younger side of things, this future just looks that bright for this Newport team, and Dylan Tucci is just one of those names, like you mentioned, to look out for in the coming years for this Sailors team. Fouls off a pitch, and it's a 1-1 count for Dylan Tucci. Wearing number 17 here today, and then you look at the other guys like Luke Mitchell, who would potentially be the next guy up after Brooks Francis graduates. A good defensive catcher, 2 flat, 2 sub pop time, a guy who's developed really fast, so plenty of catcher depth for this Newport team, and that just speaks a lot to the type of talent that this Newport team, and I'm sure Josh Lee has really done a great job at recruiting these guys to these spots. And I mean, you're talking about 3 modern-day guys who have transferred to this program because they see what the potential of this Newport team would look like.
Yeah, and it's just the environment that Coach Lee facilitates is such a welcoming environment, and an environment where you want to work hard to get those opportunities.
Strike 3 looking for Dylan Tucci. He goes back to the dugout on his first AB of the day.
Going back to the environment, it's just such an appeal, and Coach Josh Lee always finds a role for you in the program, and makes you feel important and let you know how important you are in this program, and that's why you have a lot of these big talents coming in from all over the place to come to Newport Harbor, which is just an up-and-coming program since Josh Lee has come into this program.
Right, and he's really changed the outlook of what it looks like. I mean, we're talking about a guy who said, hey, you know what? Who cares if we won a 2022 Division II title? Let's go win a Division I title. And that's exactly what they've been looking for the last couple of years. That one is watched for a strike 2 of the count. So some really good locking in here from Garan Beanham. Now down by 1 run after his own catcher was able to knock in the first run. It's a 1-run game here for Newport Harbor. Poked and fouled.
Attacking with that slider, little slurve there, has really been effective on the outside part of the plate, getting chases and getting whiffs. Newport Harbor is going to need to adjust to that pitch while still being able to hit the fastball here in order to get the runs on the board.
So 0-2 count here for the Moosh. First AB knocked in a single before scoring a run in. This one is fouled off the plate. And when you look at it, I mean, you talked about the up-and-coming for this Newport Harbor squad, and for the longest time, they really hadn't been that squad. I mean, the big run was really in 1994 and 99 when they won Division 5 in 94, Division 6 in the CIF Southern Section, but it's been kind of blank for the last 2 decades. And then when Josh Lee came in, he really changed the outlook of this program, winning that 2022 title and saying, hey, we're a program to look out for. If you want to play some really good baseball, this feels like the place to come play. And he's changed this program into something that could be on a massive run coming in the next few years. And we'll be talking about that later on down the stretch when they finally get to that May 1st game. And if they're able to win 2 out of 3 against Huntington Beach, they're in prime position to go very deep. Right to the glove of Shelley, nothing to it. Just a hit here in the bottom of the 4th, but still ahead by 1 run. Newport Harbor going to the top of the 5th to try to hold off against the Griffins. The starting pitcher for Los Alamitos comes back in after Will Adams was caught stealing in the last frame, as the first pitch is a backdoor slider that comes right back into the zone. Strike 1 of the count. It's the shortstop, Grant Horsley, who will take over for Ryan Williams, who now takes over at first base. And 2 pitches in a row, a couple of watched on strikes. Defensively, Cole Harrison goes to second base. Oren DeMouche moves from second to shortstop. And like we said, Williams at first base. Rochberger stepping out momentarily for this one. High fastball just misses above. But for Horsley, very effective in that last game against Los Alamitos on the 1st of this month. 1 inning pitch and check swing. No, he does not go. 2-2 count. Horsley has been extremely effective. One of the lowest ERAs on the team, .37 on the year, only allowing a batting average of 178 against his opponents so far this season. 2-2 on the way. Drilled to left field, high in the air. Running back is Whitaker, close to that warning track, but he makes the over-the-head grab for the first out.
Hung that curveball there a little bit. Got a little lucky there for Grant, but for the most part, that at-bat was executed almost perfectly. Landed the curveballs 4 strikes, through the high heater that almost got a bite, had the low curveball that almost got a bite. Just if he could have had that one pitch be perfect, that would have been a well executed.
First pitch strike to Parker Sanchez here. That one just off the plate, 1-1. Sanchez struck out looking his first AB of the day. This is his second one. Almost watched another strike, but it just missed off the plate, 2-1 count. But speaking of just how effective number 30 has been in 19 innings pitched this season, 21 strikeouts. That's almost a strikeout per inning for the young man. And strike 2 of the count, 2-2.
Really ugly swing on that fastball. You see that really high release point, able to get backspin on that ball. Looks like it's rising towards the hitter, and that's really effective up in the zone.
Another high fastball. That one just misses it once again. Full count here for Parker Sanchez. We'll see what Horsley does here. 3-2 on the way. comes back in with a sinker. That one just a foul ball by Sanchez.
That did have a little bit of bite on it, on that inside. Maybe a two-seam low sinker there, like you said. Maybe drop the arm angle a little bit. But that was really, really effective.
And that one misses. It's a full count walk for Parker Sanchez.
Next up for the Griffins is the shortstop, number 3, Caden Turner.
Only has 2 walks on the year in 19 innings. That's a rarity right there. You often see Horsley attacking these hitters, and he did right there, just not enough to get that out.
This one, a little cheese upstairs, throw to second base, swimming in, and just down there with the tag. Damouche applies it, and caught stealing is Parker Sanchez.
Beautiful throw from Francis right there. He has 2 caught stealings already this game.
Fouled off by Caden Turner. And now with the runner away from that second base bag, it's another chance here for Newport Harbor to get out unscathed once again. This one just misses. He tries the backdoor slider to come back in, but that one misses. When you look at the board right now, 4 hits for Newport, 3 hits for Los Alamitos. Very much different than what we've seen the last couple of games on both sides, as that one is fouled off. 17 hits combined by both teams, 7 for Los Al, 10 for Newport on just 2 days ago. And then that first matchup, Newport Harbor 13 hits to Los Alamitos, just 2. So things a lot closer here so far. Another one fought off by Turner.
Went with the high fastball there, tried again, was good height, just not high enough to get that swing and miss.
1-2 again. This one just misses inside. 2-2 count, turning into a nice AB here for Turner. Pitch number 7 of the at-bat coming up. Horsley delivers, high fastball, another one fought off.
And you see Turner crowding that plate, trying to take away that inside corner, probably looking for that curveball outside.
And this one lays him in the bag. A really nice at-bat for Turner. He's able to get on board, but not in the way he imagined. But nonetheless, that's a free base.
And yeah, like I said, crowding that plate, trying to get Horsley uncomfortable with throwing inside, and that was not the result that Horsley wanted on that pitch.
And now there's a threat at first base in Caden Turner, and we're back to the top of the order for Los Alamitos. Jericho steps in, pitch in the dirt, but good stop once again from Francis.
A long lead there from number 3, Turner. We'll see if he tries to make a big move here with 2 outs.
Maybe 2.5 body lengths away as he dives back in. 1 year ago, Los Alamitos, coming off of a pretty good track record, 19-10-2 overall, 10-8, third best in the Sunset League. The last 3 seasons, they really have finished 3rd and 4th in the Sunset League, with Newport Harbor pretty much just on top of them. But they've also finished 2nd in the league the last 3 years as well. That one's in there for a strike to Jericho. But how did Los Alamitos do in the playoffs? They beat La Mirada 4-2. They beat Olu 8-0, but they lost to Santa Margarita in a walk-off in the 7th inning. Warren Gravely, the 4th walk-off hit, who was committed to Notre Dame at the time, helped SM get to the championship game in the Southern Section against St. John Bosco, where they had a classic where St. John Bosco won 3-2 in that game. And the Braves eventually being the state champions in the Division I regionals. This one's rolled on the floor, getting to it in time. The throw is in time to second base. Damouche able to track that ball down, throw to second with Harrison covering, and that eliminates the threat. Another runner at the bags, another one left behind for Los Alamitos, and a 2-1 ball game for the Sailors. Coming up, bottom fifth. Back here at Stewart Fine Field, Justin Lee alongside James Loser. We welcome you back inside the booth in a 2-1 ball game. And look, I mean, this was kind of expected in the first few games between these two teams where it'd be close. It hasn't been close so far with the last two games, but now Los Alamitos, like we said, they have to control their destiny. They need to win a game and essentially win this thing out. Deep drill on the first pitch by Woon, but stays in the outfield for the first down.
These game threes have been tough for the Sailors. They did win last week, but did lose those game threes to Marina and Corona Del Mar. So Sailors need to lock in here so that they don't go into a game three into the last inning where they are scrambling to get runs.
And exactly, rightfully so. And something you pointed out in the break was, the fifth inning coming up for the Sailors, where they really put the foot on the gas in the later parts of the game. The most runs they score on average is this inning right here, 1.4, just above that first inning where they score an average of 1 run in 0.1 so far. That one in there laid up, just missed high upstairs. Williams, like we talked about, dealing with that injury, but through 4 innings of work, he's been pretty solid, and even at the plate, he looks pretty dialed in, but just a few unfortunate hits. Another roller this time. One hop high up in the air for Shelley. Can he make the throw? Off the plate, but tags off of Williams, and he's on the floor, though. Did Garfias get a piece of Williams on the helmet as he went through the first base bag? He's back on his feet, which is a good sign.
I don't know if Williams thought he beat that out or if he thought the contact was unnecessary. He should be called safe, but that did look like a pretty hard tag to the face there, and Lee is coming out to try and talk to the umpire about that tag.
Another one of those bang-bang plays, and he's going to go with the umpire review here with the home plate chief umpire coming out to meet him at the middle. So he's just on the replay once again, just very close. Let's see if we can slow this thing down here and give you a glimpse of what that looked like. And the review is still out. It looks like he maybe barely just got the tag in before that foot came down. Let's see the frame.
Ooh, that's close.
Very close.
That could go either way. That looks like he's just safe. Wow, that was a pretty tough call right there.
Great job by the replay team for getting that, but obviously, no replay system in high school ball. You don't get that benefit of the doubt. It's really just up to the eyes of the umpires here. So 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning as Gavin Guy steps in. Now behind with an 0-1 count. Flares this one foul. Behind 0-2. And Gavin Guy, like we talked about, very talented, committed to UCSB. Also plays basketball, wears number 22 as a forward, a 4-year varsity starter on this team. I mean, look, the depth of talent has been so deep for this Newport team. Did I get a piece of him? Yes, it did. No, they're saying he reached over in front, and he's going to have to come back as he threw the bat away already.
Hit him in the elbow guard too. Maybe his elbow was sticking out a little bit, but that's really unfortunate for Guy right there. Be questioning his call right there. It's a 1-2 count now, and Guy down in the count instead of being on first base is kind of tough on the Sailors.
Usually those kinds of calls would go as a strike, but this, nonetheless, it's a 1-2 count. Another pitch fouled off. So let's see. Yeah, it looks like it got him on that elbow guard, but he's saying he leaned in. And that's up to the eyes of the umpires because, like you said, a lot of these hitters are kind of crowding that plate a little bit. So, I mean, as bang as that is, it's just, you know, really up to that imaginary line in front of the batter. This one's lined on the floor, off the wrist of Turner, and it goes into the outfield. Gavin Guy ends up with basically a single here.
And as the saying goes, the ball does not lie. That ball hit very hard up the middle. Shortstop able to get his glove on that, but went past him. That maybe counted as an error. Pretty unfortunate there for the Griffins, but like I said, the ball does not lie.
It does not lie indeed. The second error of the game for Los Alamitos, and that looks like it could be the end of Garen Beanham here. And Cameron Chin pulls the ball away, and it looks like they're going to go to the bullpen here for the Griffins. The new pitcher coming up for Los Alamitos. We'll take a step to the side here. 2-1 ball game still in the middle of the bottom of the 5th inning coming up. So they're going to change out the pitcher in Beanham, who has been doing pretty solid so far. We're talking about 4 innings and 2/3. Worked 2 strikeouts on these Newport hitters. And it'll be Henry Ziegler coming up on the bump here, and maybe one of the most effective pitchers on this Los Alamitos staff as one of the relief pitchers. 6 foot, 165 pounds, a 1.24 ERA. He's already got 2 saves this season, but he comes into a situation that almost feels realistically like Beanham could have finished it, but it's a lefty-on-lefty matchup, James.
Yeah, and Coach Chin talking about having a plethora of arms on the Sunset Rewind podcast, and being able to make a lefty-on-lefty situation here in a close matchup is exactly what he's talking about.
By the glove of the first baseman Garfias into the coffin corner of the outfield. Nobody will score, but now Guy is 90 feet away from scoring thanks to the single by Henry Mann.
Yeah, that lefty-on-lefty matchup did not actually work in their favor there. Henry Mann with that hard hit line drive at the first baseman, not able to glove it. That could have been a double. They may have been playing him slightly pull, but nonetheless gets Guy to third and gets Horsley up to the plate with a runner in scoring position. This is a dangerous moment for the Griffins here.
So now it's relief pitcher Grant Horsley, who came in the last half of the inning for Newport Harbor. Watches ball 1.
Turn off B channel.
Against Henry Ziegler up on the mound. Here's the next pitch. That's a great breaking ball, watched all the way by Grant Horsley with runners at the corners and 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 5th.
Showing that he can command that breaking ball, especially with a runner on first.
Goes with the high and cheese, but no take from Horsley.
That curveball was a dangerous pitch, because if you spike that, Henry Mann is going to second base, and with a good single, that could score 2 runs.
And trying to keep this a 1-1 game. Breaking hangs up, and that is into shallow left center. It's going to score another run for Newport Harbor, an RBI single for Grant Horsley.
Horsley getting the job done, hitting those line drives, and that's absolutely the approach from the Sailors, and what Lee has been preaching this entire time is hitting those line drives, hitting those ground balls, making plays happen, making the defense, stressed, putting pressure on them in order to get those runs, and you saw that work out perfectly right there.
And you talk about the 2 outs and almost getting Gavin Guy, but that error by Turner, even though it was a really tough play, when you make a mistake, this Newport Harbor team seems like they're going to be all over it. And right now, basically a 2-out rally here thus far with runners at first and second for Brooks Francis. 0-1 count is fouled off.
And in the Sunset League, those errors turn into runs really quickly, especially in, high school baseball. That can be a momentum changer in these games. And as for the Sailors, that was a really big moment for, especially in the situation where you're only up a run and now you're up 2 runs, and puts a lot more pressure on their offense.
That's what Horsley did. This one's rolled down. It's trailing towards the left third base side. It's called a foul ball. Great read by Shelley to at least come up and get that ball before it could roll into the infield, because that surely would have been an infield hit there, and almost a collision between him and Adams too.
Looking a little bit shaken up there, Shelley. Looks like he's okay.
So Brooks Francis almost dishing out a Beyblade of a hit right back into the infield. That was a lot of topspin on that ball, trailing back, but a great read by Shelley to at least avoid letting that ball trail in and leaving it loaded with 2 outs. So back to an 0-2 count. This one's in the dirt. Good stop by Adams.
This is a really crucial moment for number 19, Brooks Francis, right here. If he can get on base and turn this 2-strike count, which is a negative, into a positive, that would make it bases loaded. And with Cameron Hatfield on deck, a big power hitter. This could turn into a nightmare situation.
Breaking pitch that breaks right down, strike 3 for Brooks Francis. That's a great delivery there by Ziegler. But despite that, Newport Harbor capitalized on an error. 3-1 is the score going to the top of the 6th. Back here for the top of the 6th inning. 2 more frames to go here in this one, but Newport Harbor just barely hanging on to a lead right now. 3-1 after capitalizing on an error back in the last half inning. Right now it's Jackson Gomes, Rowan Shelley, and then Gerardo Garcia is coming up for the Griffins. And really need to get something going here in the late innings of this game. Averaging 4.8, almost 5 runs per game this season, but they're just down below against a defense that has really, at least for the most part, held things down here thus far.
This is a crucial inning for Los Alamitos to try and get on the board. If they can't get on the board right now, you know, it could lead to some issues into the 7th inning.
Drill to right field, close to that line, and it's gone! Jackson Gomes knocks one over that pesky pole in right field, and now behind once again by a single run.
That was a big moment for the Griffins. They're fired up right now. And he got jammed on that pitch. That was really good placement. You know, being able to drive that up in the air and over the fence, 274 down the line. That's just great placement and a great approach to try and hit that pitch the other way.
And that's one of the things we talked about the last couple of broadcasts for Tar Baseball, as this one's fouled off by Rowan Shelley. 3-2 now as Los Alamitos answers back from that error they made back in the last half inning. But that distance of 274, that is not typical of most ballparks, and because of that short distance, it turns into basically a lefty hitter's dream here at this ballpark, and that's exactly what Jackson Gomes did, knocking that to the right field side and giving Los Alamitos a chance here now in the top of the 6th.
Sailors still up though, still a little bit of pressure for the Griffins, but we'll see if that was truly a momentum shift or if the Sailors can really put it back together here.
I mean, that ball was hit pretty well, but it just a little deceptive because of that short distance to right field. But Gomes gets the job done and knocks in a solo home run to give the Griffins a chance here. This one is pulled over, foul ball by Rowan Shelley. Gomes now his first home run of the season that he just knocked in, giving his team a chance. And coming into this series, a .235 batting average with only 4 hits and 17 at-bats. And the biggest hit of them all comes into this game so far. Drilled through the gap, and that one gets through. So back-to-back hits for Los Alamitos, and they're operating with no outs here in the top of the 6th.
We haven't seen Horsley get hit this much recently, but you can clearly see their approach is to go the other way. Maybe you can take that away with a defensive shift or whatever Coach Lee has up in the sleeve.
They're still playing in that same spot just like they did. This first pitch outside called a strike to Garfias. Both times rolling out to the second baseman in Demouche and Harrison. And you see down the third base side, man playing very close into the infield, right up to that line. 0-1, same spot, but high up this time. 1-1 misses. So Rowan Shelley, the captain of this team, committed to Fresno State as well. 6'3", 385 pounds. He's standing at first base. And Garcia is trying to at least move him over 90 feet. Swings and misses on the off-speed pitch, 1-2.
One of Horsley's strengths is to be able to pronate that changeup. Really, really nasty pitch, able to get reduced vertical break on it compared to people that throw at that high of an arm angle.
Poke to left field, running over from that left field side. Whitaker makes the catch, tagging up to second. Safe is Rowan Shelley. So basically a sacrifice fly out for Garfias out to left field in foul territory. And the placement of that ball allows Shelley to move over 90 feet. So still gets the job done even though an out is given up. It looks like there's a little bit of chippiness between the base umpire and the dugout for Newport Harbor right now. So one out here in the top of the 6th. Runner in scoring position is Rowan Shelley, and here's Will Adams. Knocked in the first run of the game back in the 4th inning with that RBI single before being cut down on a steal attempt. Fouls off the first pitch, 0-1.
Really healthy hack right there on an elevated fastball. Caught a little bit much of the plate there, but a good strike nonetheless for Grant to show that he's confident, ready to attack these hitters.
Horsley delivers a breaking pitch, but that just misses off the plate. 1-1.
Lee hoping to get that call there. That was a beautiful pitch. Maybe not the frame that Francis was hoping for, and that may have caused that to be called a ball.
1-1 count. Here's the delivery. Lets it go a little early, and it's high upstairs. A 2-1 count here for Will Adams. This was a big blemish for the Tars a year ago in this series. The only lost series of the year for the Sailors was against this Los Alamitos team. Fastball fouled off by Will Adams. 2-2 count. As of history since 2010, Los Alamitos has really had the upper hand against this Newport team. 13-25 and one tie through the last decade or so. Decade and a half, essentially. And Newport Harbor, as of late, though, obviously, have been doing a much better job, but trying to sweep this Los Alamitos teams, but they're not giving up. This one misses just down low below the knees. It's a full count for Will Adams.
This is a big pitch right here. If Los Alamitos gets on, that's first and second with 1 out, and that could easily turn into third and second with 1 out, and that's exactly what you don't want. However, if you get the strikeout here, that runner on second base is going to be harder to get.
That is just foul outside the chalk. That would have been a game-tying double by Will Adams right there if that stayed within the chalk, but nonetheless, it's another full count.
My heart just skipped a beat right there. That was really close at the foul line. A great call for the umpire to see it down the line and make sure that ball was foul.
Really good eyes, and certainly did look like it was out, just outside the chalk. But Will Adams would get another second chance here to at least knock something through. 180 feet is a game-tying run for Los Alamitos at second base in Rowan Shelley.
If they can get an out right here, if Newport can get an out, that runner on second is going to be a lot harder to get.
Breaking pitch called, strike 3 on Adams. And he was not happy with the call as he takes his time to get out of the box. He goes down, a crucial out here for Newport.
Thought that pitch was up too far up and in. Talking to the umpire about that, read his lips, said a little bit. I thought that was too inside, but unfortunately that just caught the corner. A really good frame by Francis there to help assist with that backwards K.
And you gotta also give a little bit of credit to Francis for putting a nice frame job on that pitch too, to really, elect the eyes of the umpire to call that a strike. So a crucial out for this Newport battery, and a swing and a miss on the first pitch here for Cannon Schilling. Behind it an 0-1 count. Game-tying run for Los Al, 180 feet away at second base in Rowan Shelley. Fastball, another one watched right down the gutter.
You can see the tempo of this game getting higher and higher. This is a big moment for both sides, and Horsley taking his time a little bit, catching his breath, making sure he can hit the spot that he needs to.
And you see the first pitch was a swing and a miss, the fastball watched. What do you think he's going to go with here, James?
He might go the changeup here, but Francis signaling out for a high fastball.
This one's rolling the floor, scoop by Demouche, throw to first, and Williams was not ready for it. It gets away, and the game is tied 3-3. Demouche made a great play through to first, but Williams was not there in time and slips on the first base bag, and the game is tied up.
So unfortunate for Williams right there. That was a really good pick from Damish right there, but that ball maybe a bit left. Williams not realizing, slips at first base, and that will be a run, possibly an unearned run, another one for Horsley right there, and that makes it a tie game, 3-3. And what a game this has been.
So what could have held the lead for Newport Harbor, Los Alamitos catches a break on Cannon Schilling's ground ball. Not sure exactly what happened there on transition right to Williams, but he slipped off the bag and just wasn't ready. Either that or the throw was way behind him by Demouche. They have a pinch runner at second base now. It's Will McCullough who will take over at that second base bag for Cannon Schilling. Here's the replay. It looks like that throw was offline by Demouche.
McCullough with 5 steals leads the team, is a speed threat. They may want to look at him a little bit, make sure he doesn't get to third base.
You see the hand signals being switched between Harrison And Grant Horsley seeing what they want to do here. You see right there, McCullough kind of far off that second base bag. What will they do here? Horsley delivers high cheese, swing and a miss.
No movement from McCullough there. Maybe some movement in this 2-strike count, probably anticipating a breaking ball or any pitch like that.
The go-ahead run 180 feet away for Los Al. There's a 1-2, fouled off, jammed up for Beanham.
And it was indeed the breaking ball, but still no movement from number 12 there at second base.
And Beanham with only one hit so far, a fly out and, a ground out and a fly out in his first 2 ABs. Trying to put his team out in front. Fouls off another pitch and stays alive. Started the game as a starting pitcher, went for 4 innings and 2/3, but was pulled out in favor of Henry Ziegler, who got the job done and essentially has given this Los Alamitos team a chance to try to come from behind win here against the Sailors, who are trying to get far deep, and it seems like the problems have been that last game of the series for this Sailors team, minus one series against Edison, obviously, where they got away with a 2-1 victory in 8 innings.
The Sailors have got to lock it in a little bit here. They have to know that this game, you shouldn't take it for granted. You shouldn't think that, these guys are down and we beat them. But there you go. Grant Horsley with the strikeout there to end the inning.
Swing and a miss drawn by Garen Beanham, and Grant Horsley, though he gives up 2 runs, 1 on the air and 1 by the home run of Jackson Gomes, the game is tied as we go to the bottom of the 6th. It'll be Austin Gillis, Dylan Tucci potentially, and Oren Demouche coming up for the Sailors in the bottom half of the 6th. Coming up. Bottom of the 6th, and will really look like Newport Harbor trying to keep in control. This Los Alamitos team has said no quit. They've been able to score on that home run by Jackson Gomes to lead off in the top 6, and then scoring on infield error was Rowan Shelley, who came back with back-to-back hits behind Jackson Gomes, and we're tied 3-3 here in the bottom 6 with Austin Gillis and Harrison, and then Oren Demouche coming up at the bottom half of the order.
If these guys can get on and give an opportunity for the top of the order to get to the plate, that could be some big production right there. And it's crucial for these hitters to stay in the approach of hitting line drives, making the defense work in order to get outs.
That one let go, and you see Henry Ziegler looking at his hand on that pitch as that one kind of slipped out of his grips, it seems like, but it's a 3-1 count for Gillis. Gillis delivers. Fastball, that one's marking the lower half of the inside corner for a full count to Gillis leading off here.
That's the right pitch to take, low in the zone. You don't want to hit a soft ground ball. Something easy for the fielder's field.
Breaking pitch is fought off by Gillis. So Roachberger was in the 8th spot, then Dylan Tucci took over in the 4th inning, and it looks like Cole Harrison is going to come in after taking over at second base for Demouche. Defensively, he's hitting .258 on this season thus far with 8 hits and 31 at-bats. And that's a full count walk for Gillis. He serves as the go-ahead run.
That's big. Every time the Sailors have gotten someone on base, especially early, it turns into something bigger. We'll see if Harrison can keep that going and pass the torch to Damish and Woon if he comes up, and even Williams and Guy if they get there.
So what could have been, I mean, it still is a situation where you could pull a double play here, and that would be best case scenario for this Los Alamitos team if they can get the 7, 8, 9 hitters out here in this half inning and at least try to give themselves a chance to get the go-ahead run in the last top half of the 7th inning in this one. But we'll see what happens here. This is Cole Harrison who puts one on the floor, turning around Ziegler. High throw off the bag. It's Garfias and everybody's safe.
You talk about putting balls in play and making the defense work. That was a pretty good bunt there from Harrison, trying to drag it, made the lefty try and move to his right, which is the side where he has to make a hard turn, and a high throw, not able to get the runner out, and Damish up and Woon up next. This is a dangerous situation, and Damish already has a hit in this game, so this is looking really good for the Sailors.
So it looks like that's going to go down as an E1 on the throw by Ziegler. And instead of 1 out, it's runners at first and second for the Sailors. Harrison at first, Gillis at second with no outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. There's Damish. Shows bunt, goes down the first base line. Second baseman's going to cover, and they make the play there with Garfias rolling down that first base line to get the out, but that moves everyone 90 feet into scoring position.
Great bunt down the first base line. That first baseman did read that pretty early, but now we've got runners on third and second with the top of the order up. This is a great situation, and actually a very good time for Coach Chin to come up and tell his guys what they've got to do in order to get out of this jam.
And Coach Chin, very much a people person, takes a lot from what he's been able to see as a coach, former Paramount High School head coach, former Edison High School head coach. So he's seen this Newport Harbor team before in his career, 8 years each in those programs. He took a break actually coaching at Paramount High School before coming here to Los Alamitos when the door was open for him, and he took an assistant's role over the years, and he's been at Edison High School, Long Beach City College, and Long Beach Wilson High School, and took a lot from what he's seen from the head coaches that he's had to work with. And he understands this team very well, so a lot of things to look forward to for this Los Al team in the long run. But right here, maybe electing to force the infield to stay in. You see that right now. They're all the way at the front grass of the infield with one stepping in here. Runners at second and third. The go-ahead run is 90 feet away.
It's crucial for Gillis to not make any base running errors here.
Juan flies this one, shallow left field. Gomes makes the catch, and Gillis will stay at third base, so that does not get the job done there on Keone One's first swing of that 4th AB of the day.
The right idea, but not the right launch angle. You saw him try and get that sac fly, get another run on the board to keep that, to make it a 2-run lead like they've had before, but not the job done for Woon and the Sailors.
So Ryan Williams, Mr. Starting Pitcher, we'll see if he can try to get this game back under control. He started off the game 4 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts, just 1 hit through those 4 innings. Really has held this Los Alamitos team down. But now with his own side down, or tied right now, he's got a chance to put them back up on top.
With the guy up that's defined this offense over the years, with his approach, with his pop.
It looks like that pitch barely just missed the outside corner of the strike zone, and it's called a ball by the home plate umpire. So 2-0 count by Ryan Williams here. Runners at third and second. Cole Harrison second. Gillis at third, 90 feet away from putting Newport Harbor back in front. Breaking pitch misses high up. 3-0. And surely you wouldn't want to load the bases facing off against Gavin Guy here in a situation, but it almost seems like that could be the right situation, because then you get the force out at home plate in case the ball is rolled in the infield.
Or you can get the force out at first if you're close enough, or any base in fact.
This one's down the middle for strike 1. Red light for Williams. The infield backs up to their respective corners. Nobody inside. Just need to make the easy play here and not force a mistake, and I'm sure that's what Cameron Chin was talking about in that infield meeting at the mound. 3-1, Williams fouls it off. 3-2, a big payoff pitch coming up here.
This might be the biggest at-bat of the day, possibly, so far. 3-2, 2 outs. Runners will be going on the pitch, and Ryan Williams is looking to get on first, get on base, do anything to not get out here.
Ziegler sets up. 3-2 on the way. Breaking pitch, walk, strike 3. They get out of the jam with runners at second and third, and we're still tied 3-3 going to the 7th. Going to come down to one last inning potentially here at Stuart Fine Field. To the 7th inning we go. Parker Sanchez, Caden Turner, and then back to the top with Cruz Derrico for Los Alamitos in a situation where they forced 3-3 tie so far. First pitch laid up. This one will fall in for a leadoff single for Parker Sanchez in the top of the 7th.
The Sailors can hold them here. It could go into the advantage of the Sailors, because who knows how much depth Los Alamitos has with all of the controversy that's happened with ineligible players and not having certain players on their team right now.
One of the other underneath that superficial layer type of story that is bunt laid up, diving is Caden Turner, but he's going to be out. on that sacrifice bunt. So small ball here for Los Alamitos, at least trying to get one run across the board to give themselves the advantage and force Newport to have to play from behind going to the bottom of the 7th. And Parker Sanchez at second base now.
Horsley has to get an out here. Find a way to get an out and keep that runner at second base.
Breaking pitch popped high up in the air. Williams is calling, and Harrison will call him off to make the catch. A crucial second out.
And that's exactly what Horsley needed, a ball in play that's not going to advance that runner in second and is an easy out. Harrison moving over towards first base for that catch and close to third. That's exactly what you want.
So got to be careful here because Jackson Gomes knocked a home run over that right field wall in his last AB. That pretty much got them back into this one over that 274 wall. An opposite field home run, his first one of the season. Before that, the last 2 ABs, a couple of ground outs. And now with a chance to get the go-ahead run, but he's behind 0-2 now.
That looked like a sharper breaking ball there, not like the big depthy curveball, but more of like a harder slider type pitch that may have caught him off guard a little bit. Maybe thought it would be a bit more depth going to the dirt. Great pitch there, front hip, low slider from Horsley.
We've seen some really good tunneling from not just Newport, but both sides of this team so far. We saw Ziegler come back in, take things under his own hands. Now he's in line for potentially the win here if Los Alamitos can drive in that go-ahead run that's at second base in Parker Sanchez. But if Newport can flip things around, it'll be Gavin Guy, Henry Mann, and then Grant Horsley at the 3, 4, 5 spots. A big chunk of the lineup there, dangerous. Called strike 3 off the outside corner. Down goes Gomes, and they leave the runner stranded at second. And it'll be a walk-off scenario coming up for Newport Harbor in the bottom of the 7th here on TAR TV Sports. Well, it's going to come down to a potential walk-off scenario here in the bottom of the 7th with the Sailors, Justin Lee alongside James Lee. This has been an extremely fun one so far. 6 hits on both sides, 3 runs on both sides, and you can't write up a better script than that in a series where it's basically crucial. I mean, not just for Newport, but pretty much Los Alamitos. We've talked about this plenty of times. Because of the controversy, this is basically a must-win scenario for the Griffins.
Yeah, and they're playing like it right now. They've been battling every at-bat, taking every pitch seriously and, putting a lot of effort behind just winning at any cost, and you're seeing that effort right here.
Big hack there by Gavin Guy behind 0-2, so it'll be him, Henry Mann, and then Grant Horsley, who came in as a relief pitcher for Ryan Williams, to try and walk this thing off in Game 3. Breaking pitch, Guy does not take. 1-2 is the count. And like you said, you talk about these Sunset League series, Game 3, maybe Newport have been kind of sleeping on some of these games, but Marina, they lost just by 1 run. The only one that's been kind of upside and topsy-turvy was the Corona Del Mar game where they lost 1-8. But then you look at the game against the series against Edison, Game 3, they managed to walk it off 2-1 in 8 innings. So, I mean, either way, it's been a close game in these 3-game series, but you feel like these are the types of games that Newport needs to hit. Deep drive to left field. Gavin Guy at the wall. It'll take it off. Just barely missing a walk-off home run, but Gavin Guy, a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 7th.
And that's the contact we've been trying to get from Guy. We've wanted to see that, the hard left center fly ball. Man, that was close. Right next to the Smart Park banner, a really deep part of the field, and you've got no outs with the runner on second. With Henry Mann up, this could be a really good situation for the Sailors.
Ziegler wipes the sweat off of his brow. That ball almost got away in a bunt attempt there by Henry Mann, trying to force the runner over in Gavin Guy, but you saw that hit take a one-hopper off the wall, just barely getting out of the park here to walk this thing off. But nonetheless, no outs, runner at second in prime position to win this game here for the Tars.
Give us crowd.
And you almost felt like this entire stadium was about to get on their feet, but you heard the gasps as soon as that ball laid inside at the warning track. Another bunt, but this one is not the right juice. Again, 0-2 count for Henry Mann.
Getting that runner over is absolutely crucial in this situation. You have no outs, and if it's 1 out with the runner on third, that puts you in a much, much better situation. You're going to force the infield in, and you're going to force the outfield to have to big range.
Deep drive to left, to right field, deep at the wall. It's gone! Henry Mann, He-Man, walks it off for the Sailors. 5-3. Los Alamitos, no quit, but the Sailors had other words to say, and Henry Mann comes away with the big drive to walk things off.
What a game that was.
The Sailors sweep Los Alamitos in Game 3 of this one. Back-to-back Game 3s, they've had a win in Sunset League play as they advance to 15-2 on the season. What a big hit and what a swing from Henry Mann. That's not just a high school home run, that's a major league home run.
You could see on that replay, got a top shelf pitch, just drove it to right field, lefty's paradise, as you would say, and that ball was tattooed by Mann.
A couple of really big hits, and then we forgot to mention this, Gavin Guy with the only extra base hit besides that Los Alamitos home run from Jackson Gomes, but the first extra base hit. But not just that, then you see the Henry Mann home run to walk things off. And it's just that fire in this Newport team that continues to overcome a lot of these crazy close games so far this season. And you look at a year ago and you see the way that they have been in these one-run games, 10-2 in one-run games. But now they're 4-1 in one-run games, and they continue to roll through the Sunset League play. And you talked about it. They have that matchup against Mater Dei, and then to finish off their Sunset League play against Huntington Beach. What a momentum rider this home run could be if they get to that point where we're saying, hey, this could be the team to beat not just in the Sunset League, not in the Southern section, but maybe in the state of California, James.
Yeah, that is a big statement from this team. And, going into modern day, into this Boris Classic, that's going to be a big eye-opener for a lot of these teams in the Boris Classic to see, hey, this team can do the job in the clutch, and you can't let them stick around because that can happen to you.
Henry Mann's second home run of the season comes in the biggest moment, in maybe the biggest game here, not only overcoming their Sunset League rivals, but putting themselves on a good track to chase down Huntington Beach down the stretch, as Grant Horsley not only gets the win, but he could have been potentially the game-winning hit there, but it ends up being the rest of these guys. And we talked about this in the pre-show. We talked about how this offense not only just gets the hits when they need to, but it's a team effort all the way around. And when you ask Josh Lee about this program and what he's been able to build, it's because of the players like this that he brings in, young talent. Maybe it won't be the freshmen, maybe it won't be the sophomores, but it's going to be the experienced guys. And that's exactly what happens with Henry Mann in his senior year.
Yeah, and giving these guys these opportunities to be in those big moments, like you said, even those like freshmen and sophomores, giving them those moments and to see what it's like is so big for the future of this program, and something that speaks highly as for Coach Lee.
I mean, you just still have to give a lot of good credit, though, to Los Alamitos for what they did, fighting all the way through, forcing, a handful of errors. If that error wasn't made by Demouche, we'd be talking about potentially just a game-ending type of play in the top of the seventh, but they fought all the way, knowing that they had to get a win here today to try to keep their season alive. They're not out of it technically yet, but it feels like this was the one that they had to win against a Newport team that has been rolling through.
Yeah, and hopefully Los Al can show some poise, something for them to, stay strong, because they're a good team. We respect them, and they have a lot of great talent, but at the end of the day, this is a tough one for them, and they're going to go into their next series, hungry to get those wins, get that sweep, and, try and stay in that playoff race for an at-large.
Well, we'll see what happens with the rest of the time being. But for now, we'll take a break here on TAR TV Sports. Newport Harbor walk-off win off the home run by Henry Mann, 5-3, the final score against Los Alamitos as they sweep the series. Don't go too far away. Post-game interview pending coming up here on TAR TV Sports. Welcome back here on TAR TV Sports. There's no confetti on the field, but there's certainly going to be confetti in the locker room after a massive win here for Newport Harbor, and off the bat of Henry Mann, who knocked that walk-off home run in the bottom of the 7th to win 5-3 over Los Alamitos. Justin Lee alongside James Lee. We've got the man, Henry Mann, He-Man, with that big drive to right field. Number 18, I've got to ask you, what did you see on that pitch when it came right down?
So, I don't know, I just saw a curveball up and can't take that pitch, so gotta bang it.
This was a lot closer than I think a lot of people imagined, but when it came down to it, it just felt like this team kind of came together at the right time, and you had Gavin Guy right in front of you, and then you come up to the plate. This is a big win in itself, but what needed to get done in order to pull off a win like this today?
Yeah, I don't know, just good defense, good pitching, trust your defense behind you, and yeah, gotta get the barrel of the ball, and I don't know, play small ball, I guess, what we did, kind of, and rallied together in the last few innings, so it's awesome.
Well, it certainly did work, and it seems like other things were in the works as well. James Lee's got that question for you.
Hey, it's James Lee here. Hey, we talked earlier before the game. You told me, hey, what's been keeping me going, what's been keeping me hot is the electrolytes and the fluids.
Oh,
Talk. Did that help you with the homer? Help you with how hot your bat was today?
Oh yeah, I threw some electrolytes in my water bottle, and man, that just got me going. Like right before that bat, poured some electrolytes in there, and I was like, whew, feel good right now. And yeah, it got me dialed in.
That is awesome to hear. This was a big series. Obviously, you've got the sweep. Our last 2 series have been sweeps. Talk about how big of a momentum, shift this is for the team going into the Boris Classic, where we're going to be facing your former high school, Mater Dei, and various other high-level teams, Oulu and many others.
Yeah, we're going to be facing a lot of top teams in Boris, and I think this really set the tone for us going in there, and we're going to show them what we got, Everyone's feeling good, feeling solid, good team chem going on, and yeah, we're all ready. We're all ready to play.
All right, well, we're looking forward to the rest of the season, Henry Mann, and potentially what could be set up as maybe one of the biggest series in Huntington Beach. Thank you so much. Have a great time, and go celebrate, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Well, we got one more interview coming up, potentially with Josh Lee, coming up here on TAR TV Sports. We'll come right back after this break to get the head coach at the forefront. back here on TAR TV Sports, and another spectacular finish to another great game here. And this is not another April Fool's Day joke. We got Jay Lee, interviewing Jay Lee in front of us. Josh Lee, the head coach of Newport Harbor, in what was a spectacular finish all the way around. But I wanted to ask you, Coach, just in general, because we talked about this a lot in the Sunset League plays this year in Game 3. They have not only been close, but a few of the first couple have been tough. You get the walk-off against Edison in that series, but now you finish off with a sweep here on Los Alamitos, who had your guys' number a year ago. How big was this one?
It's a big one for the kids. I mean, it does multiple things, right? Like you said, last year they had our number a little bit. They were the only team to take a series from us last year. On top of that, this just clinched playoff spot in Sunset League. So to get to 10 wins before we even get into the Boris Classic next week, that's pretty sweet. We're the only team so far that's clinched. I know Huntington is very close behind, but even though they're technically ahead of us with their record, they're close to mathematically clinching as well. So I mean, it's just awesome, but more importantly, it was big for Henry Mann. A kid that's just done everything the right way. He's come over from Mater Dei last year. He felt a little discarded. He came here, built himself back up, sat for a year, and just I'm so happy for him. He's going to remember that moment for the rest of his life. And to me, all the league stuff and where we shake out, none of that compares to. That kid just has a really cool lifelong memory.
It certainly does. He not only scored the first run of the game, but got the game-winning run in that one as well. And look, you look at the rest of this roster, and it just feels like this team is coming together at the right times with this group. What has that said about where this team is heading towards going down the stretch?
We've been very honest with them. I mean, after year one here, when we won a state championship, we had a couple down years, but I still felt like even when we were a little down, like we were so much better than the kids thought they were, in the 2023 and 2024 season. So really, we kind of evaluated that as a staff. And last year we had to spend a lot of time convincing that team, like, no, you guys are really good, man. You guys need to know how good you are. And it was really cool that they recognized that. I think this year's team, because of all the guys that were on last year's team and knowing what we had coming back, knowing what we had coming up from JV, they knew they were really good from the get-go. And so the biggest thing for them has been, how do you stick with it? How do you stay tough when you feel like you expect to win most games that you step on the field? And you can tell from some of the scores, early in the year, early in the Sunset League, we didn't do a great job of that. We were winning, but the wins weren't everything, right? The process wasn't great. And so, last week, this week, we're getting close to our potential. We're not there yet. This team is that talented, but we're getting close. And that's all I've told them from the beginning of the year. They've talked about their goals. And when I talked to them, I said, my goal for you guys is that you reach your potential. That's it. Because I know I'm going to look good if they do.
What's up, Coach? It's James. Good to see you.
James!
Talk about this pitching staff. You had Gav throw 6 innings, 9 strikeouts first game, and you had Keat throw a lot of innings yesterday, quality innings yesterday, and then Ryan and Grant here today throw very well under pressure. Talk about how influential this pitching staff is to the team and how it's going to help you guys in the future.
Yeah, I mean, pitching's everything in baseball. That's number one. Number two is I think the pitching staff. You can look at the numbers. They've been dominant for the most part. And man, I got to tell you, like this next week, we're gonna get a lot of these guys that haven't had the same opportunities. We're gonna get them right, and we got some special arms that are gonna get right next week. And once they do that, and we get those guys that we know how capable they are. Once we get them right, throwing strikes and challenging guys and feeling a little confident, then at that point we're 8 to 10 pitchers deep that are all really good. The top 4 or 5 guys that we've had to rely on so far have just been everything for us when our hitting hasn't quite been there. But again, like we know what we have, and 4 out of the 6 Sunset League teams really haven't even seen how deep we are, and my hope's to get those guys right, and they're going to be everything going forward. It's been nice. It's been a nice balance of, offense picking up the pitching every once in a while when the pitching goes down, and then obviously the pitching waiting for the offense to start swinging it, which really didn't come consistently until the beginning of last week. So, that's baseball. So these kids are great. I mean, Keaton's been awesome, by the way. Gavin Guy. I don't need to keep talking about him. We all know what he is. And then, Ryan's really stepped into that third starter role, and Grant Horsley has been a dog. He's been like that since 7th grade. The kids used to joke that I build him in a machine for a baseball player. So, nothing's going to faze him. He's great. We've known him since he was 13 years old, and he just keeps doing it. So all of them, love them all.
Last question for you, Coach. You talk a lot about, sending a message to all of these Sunset League teams. Talk about, how this series has really sent the message, of, being a tough team and, being, a team that to beat in the Sunset League.
Yeah, I mean, the point really, just in terms, as you know, James, from being on the team, jeez Louise. When I really say that, what I mean is, like, last year, I think by the end of the year, everybody kind of realized what we are, what we're capable of as a team. And I'm talking about the outside of the team too, right? Like the rest of the league recognized it, everybody else. But I just, I grew up a lot of the way that Newport Harbor's baseball program's been over the last 20 years, feeling feeling undervalued when I was a ball player, carrying a chip on my shoulder. And it's really cool to see the kids doing the same. You play better when you carry a chip on your shoulder. And I just think the message that I want these kids to be sending is that, we're good, we're here, and it's not a one-year thing, right? Like we're building something, we have built something, and, we're not going anywhere. And that's that element of when we talk about fight and show something to the league, it's to continue to prove every day, like, hey, Newport Harbor baseball is no joke anymore. Like we're a top dog, and we're going to have to be reckoned with. And the kids are the ones who determine that, not us as coaches. And they've just done a heck of a job, really, for the last 2 years so far, showing, like, hey, we're here and we're not going anywhere. And, as we go into next week, when we're going to play some of the best teams in the country, it's our opportunity to show that we belong. So we're looking forward to it.
And we'll be looking forward to, Coach. Thank you so much, and setting up the stage for maybe one of the biggest series. Best of luck. We will see you in the future. Thank you once again, Josh Lee.
Thank you, guys. Thanks,
Thank you,
James
Coach.
Lee. Love you.
Love you, Coach.
Well, thank once again here, Justin Lee, on play-by-play alongside the ever-legendary James Lee of this baseball program. Be sure to follow us at Target TV Sports on Instagram for our full broadcast schedule and updates on upcoming coverage. You have anything else to point out here, James?
Yeah, we've got we've got another game coming up on Wednesday, April 15th. That will be in 2 weeks, where we will be covering Newport Harbor boys volleyball and their matchup against Huntington Beach. That will be a big one for the standings for sure.
Well, we'll take a look at that one and obviously the rest of the season here. So make sure you follow us there. Intense league match coming up. Thank you once again from the bottom of our hearts for this fantastic matchup between Newport Harbor Sailors and the Los Alamitos Griffin. For everyone here at Target TV Sports and our great crew behind the scenes, as we say to our friends and family at home watching, we say thanks for being with us tonight. Good night from Newport Beach, California.
Are we good? Yo. Oh, okay.